Hey everybody, it's Amy here, editor-in-chief of the Austin Common, and I'm just letting people come on in, but we are back with another shop local feature. As you've seen, kind of throughout this whole month, we've been highlighting local makers and creators so you can find more people to shop this holiday season. And today I'm letting in our first guest here. There we go. Hey.
Hey, how's it going, Amy?
Good. How's it going with you?
Good. I'm gonna make sure I'm all set up here. Cameras always seem to be different.
Yeah.
There
Thanks
we
for
go.
joining.
Yeah.
I was just saying that we're kind of been highlighting different local makers and creators, and I'm glad that we had the chance to talk a little bit today. Do you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. My name is Tabria. I am the founder of Tawa Threads. Amy had the fortune of knowing me when I was Tawa Tai, so it's been really amazing growth process over the last 3 years. Now that I think about it, some days I forget that I started as Tawatai. So love to see you wearing an original, by the way.
Yeah,
I don't even make those anymore.
that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm gonna wear this, and I'm not sure if this is even something that you sell, but I remember we're neighbors actually, and you used to sell these guys, and I have a rosemary plant in my front yard,
Yes.
and
Oh,
you used to
yeah.
package them with rosemary, and sometimes you would come by to get
Oh, my
rosemary to
gosh.
package them all together.
I totally remember that. Wow, it's been like such a crazy journey, and I love doing lives because it's just like nice to take the time to step back and reflect. So appreciate you having me join this today.
Yeah, so take it back for us. When did you get started working on this kind of thing? As we said, there's been quite an evolution.
Yeah, so after college, I did the corporate and startup life for a while. I did that for roughly 3 years before starting Tawa Threads. And I started off as Tawa Ties. I was really just missing being outside. I played sports in college. I was out a lot. I grew up in Texas. So just being out was like the norm for me. And like just having to move from college and being out and playing soccer all the time and being, in a corporate setting and not having the opportunity to get outside as much. I was really craving that. So it was really nice because I was trying to find different ways to connect my passion of design, but also just my love for like travel and exploration. So Tawa Thai I started off doing bandanas, looking at different plants and flowers that I came across just during my time outside, and carving and creating different prints, and just really having fun with basic shapes and working to tell a story and a narrative behind all of the designs. So after about a year, I was looking to expand. It seemed like it was really sticking with people, and I was originally giving back to Texas parks, but I realized there was more that I could do from an equity standpoint, and I felt really encouraged to just kind of bring the social impact component into my business. So I expanded to do home decor. We give back 20% of proceeds to BIPOC, LGBTQIA+, and individuals with disabilities in outdoor spaces. So programs focused on leadership, healing spaces. Those are all really important to me. It's been a really great journey. This year, I had the opportunity to reach out and connect more with organizations. It's great to donate, but really understanding like other ways I can do more. And I'm hoping to like explore different ways that I can help and support organizations more next year. But yeah, since then we've expanded from like wildlife to national park inspiration. I have like Arches National Park inspiration behind me, and it's just been really cool to see how people use them. And typically wall tapestries, table runners, bed runners are some of the main things. But yeah.
Yeah, I love how everything kind of draws from nature. Like you said, this guy, which is like an old school one, I think was a stamp that you were doing.
Yeah, large
Um,
buttercup.
yeah. But then some of your runners and tapestries are very cool. They're all, I think most of them are inspired by like a national park, maybe.
Yeah.
So like you said, that one is arches that we can kind of see behind
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I have arches. I have, so right now we have four. We have arches for Arches National Park. We have Flow for Acadia National Park, Crest for Denali National Park, and then we recently released Big Bend or Bend for Big Bend. And it's been really fun just kind of seeing how it evolves, and I've been really excited to play with different shapes and colors, and I'm looking forward to looking at introducing like more home decor products next year, which is really exciting. So it's always changing, and I honestly never really know what's coming next, but it's always great to get to the end of the year and stop and be like, wow, these are all the things that happened. So
Right. And I want to have you talk a little bit about I see behind you also you have the
oh
little like
yeah.
planter things. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a planter guy right here, and they're really great because they're magnetic, so you can just pull them on and off the wall. I'm not really sure how that came about, honestly. I remember just wanting to explore a new medium, and honestly, like I've always wanted to do woodworking types of things. I had done a small marketing assistant position before I started Tawa Threads. I'm working with furniture, and I've always enjoyed playing with like shapes and like light woodworking. So it was a good opportunity for me to try and play with those. So it's really cool. It's like a three layer wood palette. They come with either 3 to 2 test tubes. Typically, I see people put like plants in them, but people have gotten really creative. If you look on our page, people are like putting candy in there and bath salt and seasoned spices from their kitchen. So it's really cool to see the different ways that like I didn't even like think of when I first started.
Yeah. And so, I'm curious what it's like you're trying to do all of this and run a business and all of that, and it can be so much, especially after this like crazy 2 years and the pandemic and
Yeah.
all of that. Like, how have you navigated that and stayed like excited
Same.
about the work? Yeah, it's so hard. Like, I feel like,
Yeah.
it's hard to be creative if you're also like super stressed.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm trying to like figure out different ways to reduce stress and anxiety. I typically am pretty good about like working out 3 times a week, or like trying to get on the mat to do
Mhm.
some yoga in the morning just to kind of like ground and recenter. But like honestly, if I were to turn around the camera, like my room is an explosion. So I don't currently have a studio. I'm fortunate enough to have a garage where I'm living, so I'm kind of able to organize things in there, which has been really helpful, especially when I'm taking on like the woodworking projects. But yeah, it's been a lot. I'm hoping next year to do like seasonal hiring, not only to just have support, but to just bring a different perspective in, because I think sometimes you get so streamlined of like what you're doing, how you're doing, and as a person of one, you don't want to really, like, if everything's running smoothly, you don't want to really get too much off the path. If it's working, like, don't try to fix anything
Right.
else, really. But yeah, it's been a lot. It's been an adjustment. I'm still doing some of the product production, building these guys. I've been really fortunate enough to work with a small team of 5 in India who do a lot of ethical printing specifically for smaller businesses. So I've been able to get some assistance with the runners, and then screen printing here locally for bandanas now, because just hand printing was like not gonna cut production, especially getting into REI this year. I was like, okay, so how many bandanas do I need to make? Because that's not even possible. So
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about REI.
yeah, yeah.
I know that I was there a little bit ago and I saw your product there. I was like, oh my gosh, I messaged you right away. I was like, I
Yeah.
can't
Oh my
believe
gosh.
this. Can you
You were
talk
one of the
about?
Yeah, you were one of the first people. To be honest, I had no clue when it was going to be on the floor.
Well, I
It's
probably go to REI too much. That's probably part of the problem,
no,
but
I love well, like as soon as you said that, then like literally within a week, I had some other people like tagging me,
uh
and it was really exciting. And what's so crazy when the year started off, it wasn't something I even like dreamed of doing. Like, I just feel very, very, very grateful. Like, I'm counting my blessings because there's just so much logistically. I think for me personally, I am just kind of like a go-getter. I'm also a little naive, so it works for me. I'm like, yeah, let's just go with the flow. Let's try it, see what happens, and, you know, take everything as like a learning experience. So I think that worked out in my favor. And, you know, there's going to be some little tweaks as far as things that I would like to do, such as like some more sustainable missions. And then in addition, like trying to source more in the US. So there's different components. It's really, it's a hard thing to balance when you're trying to scale your business and keep, you know, some things traditionally here and handmade. But then also understanding like the demand is so high and just really working to level those things. But yeah, REI was just a really great opportunity, really in line with my brand. I like really love what they're doing and how invested they are in supporting businesses of color. And it's been really great to see the different initiatives they've been doing, as well as just like follow-ups on the back end to support me as a small business owner. So yeah, my wildest dream, I didn't ever expect something like this. And I'm really feeling really fortunate and really motivated to try to figure out different ways that I can like give back to the different organizations that we give back to. So
Yeah, super cool. So exciting to like see it. It's like one thing
yeah,
to be, it's always important, put on your own markets and your own thing, but
yeah,
it's so cool to have it be somewhere else. That's like
yeah, definitely. It's like if I'm being honest with you, I don't think I've fully processed it quite
hmm
yet. I It was a while before I went to REI. I was really nervous. I had like a lot of anxiety associated with like how it looks and
hmm
how I'm kind of in this weird space of navigating more so towards like home decor, and they're more apparel focused, and really understanding like what that looks like in context and if people are attracted to buying them as like as scarves and runners and stuff. But just it's been really great to learn so much. I think that's what I love about being a small business owner. And just like I've learned so much about marketing, sales, production, time, like how to efficiently manage timelines, how to forecast. So I feel like I've been really grateful in that regard, just to have exposure to so many different things beforehand before starting my business, and then like now just getting um, used to creating my own processes and workflows.
Yeah. And so I want to talk a little bit about what could be next for you. You're working
Yeah,
on a big crowdfunding campaign right now. Do you want to talk
yeah.
about that?
Yeah, so super intimidating, and one of those things like, wow, naive, so many lessons learned already. But you know what? I'm feeling pretty confident about it. We're pretty low as far as the amount of funding we raised. So if you have a moment to check out our link in our bio, please do. The biggest part of this, well, let me back up and first tell you a
Yeah.
little bit more about what I'm doing. So I am really trying to focus a lot more on community next year. And what that looks like I mentioned to you, there's donations. It's great to give back. I really believe, you know, if you have money and you're able to provide those resources to other people, then do it. I definitely think there's some other opportunities and ways that you can support different communities. And the initiative I'm taking on is just like from my own experience, like growing up, I didn't see a lot of people of color in the outdoors, especially making outdoor art. So that's a very like niche
hmm
place to be. But I am, since starting Tawa Threads and since starting Tawa Ties, I have had the opportunity to meet a lot of outdoor centric artists who are creating this beautiful work. And I want to have a space in Austin to showcase art, photography, interactive installations, a shop where you can buy different products from these makers who are all across the country. And ideally, I would love to eventually turn it into a nonprofit and curate artists like annually. So maybe
Mm.
20 artists come through the first year, a new set of 20 artists the next year. And additionally, if we can get into major metropolitan areas across the country, that's kind of my like 3 to 5 year plan. But I think honestly, for where I'm at right now in the crowdfunding campaign, I'm feeling okay and comfortable because I realized it was a really big initiative to take on. And especially being a team of one, I feel really fortunate that I've had people in the community who are willing to support. I think the biggest part of the budget was the space, and we may, fingers crossed, get really lucky and lock down a space for sponsorship opportunities. So that really might propel us in the right direction. So I am feeling really motivated heading into next year. I'm trying not to focus too much on this last month, but while we do have a countdown of, I believe, like 20 days, there's donations will be open. We're hoping to do it towards the end of next year, so there will be plenty of time, but we are trying to secure the funds just to understand kind of like the level of what production wise we'll be able to put on. So ideally 20 artists, maybe upwards to 50. Like I said, an array of artwork from these groups, because when you go to museums, it's typically predominantly white males, and it's, I want to say roughly 75, between 75 and 85%. I can't remember the exact statistic, but my goal is to just kind of be known for like a Tawa Threads production where I'm creating a space where it is predominantly these groups who are historically excluded. And I think it'll be a great opportunity to learn, not only for individuals who don't identify to come to the space, but individuals who do identify, and they just as much need to learn about other people's experiences. And I think it would be just a really great opportunity to see how that's expressed through visual arts.
Yeah, it's so important. I think this is something that obviously, many have known about for a while, but I think the outdoor industry in the past few years has been having a little bit more of a public reckoning over this, and trying to figure out ways to be more inclusive and recognize kind of the gaps there. And even like our local parks and national parks as government agencies have been a little bit more attuned to this. And I think there's a real power in like arts and culture in order to bring these things out. You know what I mean? Like a lot of it is just like seeing it, right? Like
absolutely seeing it. Just hearing from these people. Like I would love to integrate documentary work into the exhibit as well. There's just so many really fun, creative ways to go about it. So I'm kind of taking it as like the glass half full kind of thing right now. Like, I think going into the new year, I'll have a lot more momentum and excitement around it. Right now, I'm like, just get me through the holidays. Make sure everybody gets their orders in time.
Yeah, hard to crowdfund and also deal with a holiday rush at the same time.
I don't think I timed that right in my head, but like I said, I'm quickly learning. I have really like no regrets this year. I've made a lot of mistakes. I have taken on a lot more than I probably should have, but I feel really, really fortunate enough to be doing what I love. Like I know I struggled the first couple of years out of college, really trying to find like a team, a company, an occupation that I felt really invested in. And after playing sports in college, that was just such a big part of my identity. So like really having the opportunity to step into a space where I get to explore, I get to try all the funky and crazy things that I've always wanted to do. It's like a dream come true. So I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah, that's what crowdfunding campaigns are I've done like a few very small scale ones. Yeah. And I'm like, why is this so hard?
I know, that's another, I was like, I don't like asking people for money. I'm a grinder. Like I literally will work like 80 hours a week to just try to make things ends meet. But it is definitely something that like I was fortunate enough to go through a program and connect with other like women of color who have just these beautiful businesses all across the country, and we were kind of all grappling with the same things, especially with so much going on in our world right now. It's like, who has time to invest in this, and who has the energy to hear this right now? And so it's like managing all these little things and just really knowing that like, okay, my crowdfunding campaign is here to like invest in people. Like I would love to further my brand and my products, and that is a goal of mine. But like at the end of the day, like big part that I'm wanting to expand is the social impact. So like, what are ways that I can work to give back more and understand the money that I'm asking for is to support other artists, other creators, and I just hope people are receptive. Like as we get closer and closer, and as I start doing more marketing around the event, just kind of learning how people can show up in different ways.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so if people want to support that, remind again, you could just go to the link in your bio.
Yeah, I have a link in my bio. If you look on my page, there might be 2 or 3 posts within like the last 4 to 5 lines where I share some information about sharing it with larger companies because those are quick and easy wins, and then sharing it with outdoor influencers who might reshare that
Hmm.
information as well is really important. And for the crowdfunding campaign, we also have some really awesome gifts. We have like prints, these really cool Explorers UR pins. So we're doing a lot of different or providing a lot of incentives in order to donate. So yeah.
Great. And then do you have any markets or anything like that coming up? How
Yes,
can
let's
people
talk
find your products?
markets.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited because there's a lot going on this week. I'm actually just about to head to San Antonio to hang out with my mom for a day or two. But this weekend is a big weekend, and I'm going to probably be posting more about it tomorrow. So I have a market that won't, it's not in person, but it's at the Domain. It's called Holly Babes. And it's Nina Barrinto, and
Nice.
she is a jewelry maker in Austin and showcases a lot of individual women-owned makers, and that's going to be great. Some of my friends and my favorite artists will be there, so please, if you're in Austin area, North Austin, stop by the Domain and check it out. It will be on Saturday and Sunday. And then I believe on let me make sure I'm getting these right. Saturday, Front of Texas, they are putting on, formerly known as Boss Babes, they are putting on an event at Ani's, I believe,
Oh
day and
yeah.
night.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm pronouncing that right. And that is going to be another great event. I popped by last weekend. They've been doing events since the end of November, and we'll be doing events right up until Christmas, I believe. That's a really great one. So that one is women owned, BIPOC, queer owned, a lot of different businesses with an array of products, home decor, bath soaps, vintage. That'll be really great. And then the last one I have on Sunday is Sip and Shop, and that will be at the Austin. I might need to double check, but it'll be
That's okay.
posted on my story later. I think it's at the Austin Winery, St. Elmo's area, South
Okay.
Austin. So that's always a really fun one. There's a lot of just grab yourself a drink, enjoy
Mm.
other artists. There's really some amazing artists that are there typically. And then I'm doing one more with Kamek on the 16th. So that'll probably be a little bit more intimate from 4 to 7 on the 16th. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that one.
Your
I've been
weekends are
wanting,
busy.
yeah, it's weird. I'm like, how am I doing this again? If I still have to like fold and do all the production and then mail out the orders that are coming in, but it gets done. It gets done.
Nice. And then just before we close, then I'm wondering if there are and I know a big part of your brand, like you said, is giving back. What are some of the like
Oh yeah.
any organizations we can plug here that you've been
Yes.
working with lately?
Yes. So a couple of organizations that come to mind right away. Camp Founder Girls, which is a part of Black Outside. That one's really close to me because it was based out of Camp Founder Girls is based out of Boerne, and I actually grew up in Boerne, Texas. Believe it or
Hmm.
not, it's crazy. It was like, wow, I have lived so many lifetimes, so many different lives, born in Germany. Anyway, so yeah, so that is a great one. Native Women's Wilderness, Brave Trails, Native Power Rangers, Latino Outdoors, Outdoor Asians. I'm trying to think, Melanin Base Camp, Brown Girls Climbing. So there's plenty. I actually have a section on my website. If you're interested in checking out more about those organizations, they link to their direct pages. It might link to their donation pages as well. So yeah, like I mentioned, I'm trying to do my best. Like I've been donating, but I hope to provide more transparency as far as like where the money's going, what are these organizations doing. I had a really great call with Brave Trails the other day, because ideally I would like to bring some of these organizations into the exhibition that I'm doing so people can have a little bit more knowledge around it. So a lot of people understand like the high level overview of what a lot of these companies do, but what they're doing, what are some other initiatives that they're doing. For instance, they're providing mental health programs for queer younger kids, and just doing all these amazing things and providing so many resources that I have just no clue about. So yes, please, I highly recommend checking out all of those pages. The people who are leading them are putting in so much work and effort throughout the year. So give them a shout out, give them a follow, whatever you can do to support.
Cool. And then last question, what outdoor trips do you have coming up, or a favorite park you love, or what are you kind of like, what's getting you through this holiday season? What are you going to do outside when you're done packing and shipping all
Oh
these
my
orders?
gosh, that is such a great question. I actually might be doing a small international trip. My last trip was Aruba, believe it or not. I'm most likely going to be going up to January. I'm taking a couple weeks off.
Right.
So Big Bend, Red Rock.
Fun.
I am definitely looking to go to White Sands Dunes. So there's a couple on my list that I'm like, oh, when I started this, I was out and doing so many things, and with COVID, it's just like between business and being busy, it's like, what am I doing? I really need to create time for the things that I preach and love. And it's just
Right,
like,
that's the point.
yeah, I was like, I feel so good and refreshed. Like, I mean, I'll go around the corner, you know, McKinney, or just like down to the Greenbelt, which is great on the weekends, but like just really expanding. There's so many Texas parks that I haven't actually been to that I still want to get to. So really making time to do that. So I'm really going to do a better job next year about budgeting even more time for myself.
Awesome. That sounds good. I think that's a good one for all of us to keep in mind for the new year. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat and for your beautiful work. I really appreciate it. I've been a big fan, as you can see.
Yeah, thanks for rocking the OG. I appreciate that. I had somebody at a market come up and they were like, oh, they were like wearing the original one. I was like, oh my God, I forgot that I used to like make that design. Like it's so crazy. I need to have like some like bucket where I store all the memories of those things so I don't forget about them.
Well, cool. We'll make sure we'll post all of the things that you mentioned in the comments for this when we post the video. And thank you so much, and good luck with the rest of your holiday workings.
Thank you. You as well. I appreciate you having me on today, Amy. You have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.